Euromaxx Highlights. And here's your host, Louise Houghton.
Hello everyone and welcome to Euromaxx Highlights. As always, we try to bring you a broad range of topics in each show. So here's a look at what we have in store for you today. Haute Cuisine. Douce Steiner is Germany's only female two-star chef. Scandinavian style. Claude are a top designer duo from Denmark. And top attraction, featuring an Austrian cafe high up in the Alps. But we start the show on a musical note as we delve into the songs that made Bryan Ferry a household name in the early 70s with his band Roxy Music. To celebrate 40 years in the music industry, he's just released a best-of compilation, though this one is rather different to most, as he doesn't even sing a note.
Bryan Ferry's latest album, The Jazz Age, is like a blast from the roaring 20s. But this time around, the famed vocalist doesn't sing a note. He's reworked his greatest hits as instrumentals for a jazz orchestra. Ferry says he's always drawn inspiration from jazz music.
I must have been 10 years old when I first went to a jazz concert. My uncle Brian took me because I was too young to go on my own, and it was fascinating for me to hear these beautiful instruments, you know, trumpets, clarinets, trombones, and it still is today.
Ferry chose 13 songs for the album to mark 40 years in the music business. An entire orchestra features well-known jazz musicians. At 67, Ferry also played an unfamiliar role as the album's producer.
I helped with the arrangements and I produced the record, but I'm not actually performing on it, so it's a nice change and it's a kind of relief in a way to be able to just take a back seat and enjoy the songs that I've written over the years.
One track on the new album is Avalon. It's a far cry from the original 1982 version.
Now the party's over, I'm so tired. Then I see you coming out of nowhere.
In the early 70s, Ferry was frontman for Roxy Music. They mixed art and pop to create numerous hits before breaking up in the 80s. Then Ferry went solo.
With Roxy Music, one of my jobs was a songwriter as well as singer, and when I started doing the solo career, I wanted to do something different, so I thought, all these wonderful songs I could sing, let's have one like this and one like that. And so it was a great voyage of discovery for me.
You must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh.
Ferry has long been known for his cover versions, like his 1981 take on John Lennon's Jealous Guy. And September Song, originally by German composer Kurt Weill. Before Roxy Music, Ferry studied art and worked as a ceramics teacher. He helped design the covers for all his albums, including the latest one.
I very much like the 1920s illustrations of Paul Collin, who worked in Paris, and we chose some of his illustrations. And my son actually was quite instrumental in doing, who works for me, created the collage.
Bryan Ferry has recorded several #1 albums and sold millions of discs during his 40-year career. But he's also known for his relationships with famous beauties over the years, and for his fashion awareness. The singer has also done modeling. But he tries not to let all this success go to his head.
If you're on a stage and performing and you're used to applause for what you do, then I think there's some element of vanity. Yeah, it does come into it. But hopefully nothing that's unmanageable.
Despite his famous image and his unmistakable vocals, Bryan Ferry has taken a backseat role on the new album. Here, other musicians are the stars. Next up, he plans to take his orchestra on tour, and this time, he'll join them on stage.
Fans will have to wait until autumn next year to see him on that tour, though. Time now to head up to a Bavarian mountain to meet up with Germany's Ines Papert. Up high and on a harness is where climber Ines Papert spends most of her time and where she trained for her World Championship title. With 4 medals now under her belt, she's released a book documenting all her fascinating achievements to date.
This is my local climbing spot in Karlstein. It's a steep rock face that I can train on nearly all year round to prepare myself for my difficult climbs on rock or ice. The good thing about it is its short ascent, with steep and very difficult routes. You can train with small grips, and it's always fun to spend time with friends here.
When you're climbing, you have to be able to rely on your friends every step of the way.
I usually spend between 3 and 5, I would say 5 days a week training and preparing myself for my difficult goals.
Now, Papert has written a book entitled Vertical: Life on the Steepest Faces. It features photographs of massive ice formations and some of the trickiest ledges in the world.
For me, ice is just as important as rock. And just like in rock climbing, we also go to the top of big mountains. So I think the variety is really interesting for the reader. It's my first book, and I'm very pleased with it.
Papert grew up in Saxony, but later moved to the Bavarian Alps. Thanks to her determination, she managed to work her way up to the top of the male-dominated sport of ice climbing. Now she's a professional in the sport, and part of the job is to get her expeditions captured on camera, like this one in Scotland in January 2011. She gets paid by her sponsors, mostly manufacturers of outdoor clothing and equipment.
When you make a living from climbing, which just sort of happened in my case, I never fought for it or forced the issue. When you live from the sport, you spend most of the time with professional cameramen and photographers. The nice thing about it is that I can choose them myself. They're all friends of mine, people who I'd like to climb a mountain with. We take some really emotional pictures.
Her book is full of stories, from her encounters with different cultures to some of her more unusual climbs. For example, her journey to the Ice and Snow Festival in the northern Chinese city of Harbin earlier this year. Ines Papert makes it look easy, but with temperatures of minus 30 degrees Celsius and in the darkness of night, she was pushed right to the limits. Back in Germany and her hometown of Bayerisch Gmein. Packing and unpacking is all in a day's work for Ines Papert. Speaking is an important part of her career, and the extreme climber gives about 40 lectures a year, most of them in Germany. They pull in big audiences, people fascinated about things they would never be able to experience firsthand.
She's actually quite a small and dainty woman, but what she's achieved on difficult rock faces and in the most terrible weather conditions is fascinating.
She's inspiring.
Yeah, she makes me want to start too.
No pain, no gain, they say. And Ines Papert is training hard ahead of new challenges, like a 1,000-meter-high ice crevasse in Kyrgyzstan.
The Hansen restaurant in the Black Forest town of Salzburg used to be a 2 Michelin-starred establishment. The head chef's daughter, Douce Steiner, took over the business in 2008, and a year later they had one of their stars withdrawn. Now she's won it back, but this didn't come without a lot of hard work from both her and her kitchen team.
Neu, 2 Amüskel, 2 Jour.
Her orders are followed to a T. Douce Steiner manages a team of 10 at her restaurant Hansen. She found out about her second Michelin star by email.
I was overjoyed. I got so many letters and emails of congratulations from colleagues. Harald Wohlfahrt wrote me a letter. That made me incredibly happy.
Steiner spent 3 years working under the celebrated 3-star chef Harald Wohlfahrt at his Schwarzwaldstube restaurant in southwest Germany. Then she started creating her own recipes. She mainly cooks light French dishes for her guests, but admits to enjoying something more substantial at her own table.
I like anything that's freshly cooked. When we have normal food for staff, I like to have Königsberger meatballs with basmati rice and caper sauce.
The Hansen restaurant is a family business. Steiner's husband is also a chef and works in the kitchen. Douce took over the 2-star restaurant from her father in 2008. The restaurant lost a star in 2009, but Steiner worked hard to win it back. Her mother, Claude Steiner, is French. She advises guests on the menu. Since her daughter took over, Hansen is almost always booked out.
She's like her dad, 2 great chefs. And I'm very, very proud of my daughter.
Steiner works up to 15 hours a day. Her daughter Justine has grown up with a taste of the culinary world. But Steiner knows there's more to life than cooking.
It's important to take some time out. And not just once in a while. Days off should be enjoyed. It's important to spend Monday and Tuesday with the family and do fun things.
Hansen is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, which allows Steiner to take her daughter out into nature, to pick wild herbs, for example, just as she used to do with her father. Steiner wanted to study art, but her passion for cooking won out. She passes on nutritional advice and special recipes, like this chocolate parfait with a lemon balm sauce.
Eating should be fun and not just about nutrition. There should be conversation at the table. It's the moment when family members talk about what they've been up to.
Steiner is currently working on her 3rd cookbook. This time she's developing dessert recipes.
I'm putting a lot of effort into writing the recipes for people cooking at home in their own kitchen. By thinking about which ingredients to use, I get new ideas about what I can do in the restaurant.
Her book will hit the shops in 2013. Next, she plans to modernize her kitchen. Who knows, she could become Germany's first female chef with 3 Michelin stars.
I certainly wouldn't mind any one of those dishes. But right now, let's take a look at the Danish design duo known as Claude. As their name suggests, everything that Claude creates is made out of clay. The 2 female designers still use traditional craftsmanship for the designs, but they combine this with some rather unique methods in the hopes of bringing the art of pottery into the 21st century.
They've given a new meaning to firing ceramics. Design duo Claude have taken their pieces to a shooting range near Copenhagen, where a professional hunter adds details to their newest creations. Karen Kjældgård-Larsen and Tina Broxer aren't just putting holes through their works for the sake of it.
The thought behind shooting the ceramics is that we want to try and kill the old traditions, or what people think of ceramics, old ceramic pieces from the 70s that are very dull and ugly, and they have all these prejudices against ceramics. And we think we make a statement by doing this shooting on the ceramics.
People are often mystified by the Danish designers' unconventional methods.
When the first time they called me, I thought they were crazy to shoot at these clay things, but the result is fine.
It can certainly lead to interesting results. Ulrik Hansen shoots these lamp chimneys with a shotgun. While the clay is still soft, now light can pass through it.
It's very nice. It's always a big surprise when he shoots, and it's just such a big impact on the clay. And I really like it very much.
I like it. And I really like it too.
Maybe on the next one.
It's very dramatic, this one. Maybe we'll try and make the next one a little bit further away.
Their workshop is in Copenhagen. They get through around 300 kilograms of clay per year, and it takes up to 3 days to finish each piece. One of their specialties is modeling blindfolded, or throwing clay bowls out of a window to make plates. Though the duo still dedicates time to making classic ceramic pieces, they say variety is the spice of life.
We want to make things that are not anonymous, things that are new and look different than other things, things that people can see, and they get this new feeling watching the thing.
So it's more sort of telling stories about using things and being around things.
Some of their designs are original enough to be put on display. Their grass vase was displayed in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. The designers combine traditional pottery with modern design. They established their label in 2000, right after finishing their studies at the Danish Design School in Copenhagen. The name Claude is a melding of the words clay and ladies. Kjældgård-Larsen and Broxer decided to pursue ceramic pottery because they saw it as a challenge.
We like to sort of to push everything to the limit a little bit, because we think when we do it really radically or really very much everything, then we get the best result.
Claude's designs are sold in design shops and craft stores around the world. Their pieces cost between 10 and 1,400 euros each. Their range includes everything from coffee sets to vases to pure artwork.
Ladies, they have a very special world of ideas where they put everything upside down. They rethink everything from the beginning, and that makes it quite original, I think, their ideas. And the other thing is they are very good craftsmen, so the quality of their work is always very good.
But the main thing is that they have fun while they're making their pottery, and the customers should also have fun using it.
The month of November marks the opening of many European ski resorts. All eyes this season are on the Austrian Pitztal Glacier in Tyrol, which now boasts the country's highest café. It's accessible from 2 skiing areas, which means winter sports enthusiasts in this area can now ski or snowboard across nearly double the number of pistes and rest in between with a beautiful view of the Alps.
A meter of snow covers the Pitztal Glacier in Tyrol. The cable cars and ski lifts spring into action in early November, heralding the start of the ski season. Pitztal is the highest glacier in the region. Visitors come to ski, snowboard, or just admire the stunning view. Now they're also able to keep cozy while enjoying the mountain panorama, 3,500 meters above sea level. This Austrian architect was in charge of the ambitious project.
We incorporated the aesthetics of the mountain landscape into the building's design. We looked for naturally occurring shapes, such as snowdrifts, and through their use, the building is integrated nicely into the mountain and glacial landscape.
One showstopper is the free-floating terrace flanked by a 25-meter-long glass front. The curved lines and mirrored glass facades are pleasing to the eye, but proved a logistical challenge.
We had very little space at our disposal on the construction site. All of the material shipments had to be planned meticulously. We had to get everything up from the valley to an altitude of 3,500 meters, and it needed to arrive precisely on time. That was definitely the biggest challenge.
Construction didn't begin until 3 years after the first blueprints were drawn up. The workers needed 5 months to erect the cafe on Austria's highest construction site. It opened at the beginning of November, along with the new Wildspitzbahn cable car. It's the most modern cable car in the Alps and comes with a special feature: heated seats. All told, the project cost 20 million euros. The cafe can seat 100 guests. Its oak fittings evoke the typical atmosphere of a mountain lodge, but with a modern twist. The cafe sells a range of cakes from their own bakery in addition to serving coffee. But keeping up standards isn't easy at this altitude.
The thin air creates complications. The coffee machine settings are very sensitive, and the pressure at this altitude makes it hard to foam milk or pour a draft beer. It's just not as easy to work at this altitude as it is in the valley.
Skiers and snowboarders aren't the only visitors on the glacier. Many of the guests are day trippers who simply come to enjoy the view.
This is highlight.
It's the highlight. Everyone who visits has to come to the cafe and take a look. The wonderful view, the panorama, there's nothing like it.
It's perfect. It's very good view from here. So, and we have a nice and good meal, so it's perfect.
Skiing, enjoying the sun, lovely weather, and a cappuccino with a slice of Sachertorte, an Austrian staple.
A ski slope runs straight from the cafe into the valley. It's a good way to burn off all those extra calories.
Well, you need a bit of extra insulation when you're up in the mountains, don't you? On that note, though, it's time to say goodbye for today. Thank you for watching, everyone, and hope you can join us again soon. Tschüss!